Even though 2000 BC may seem like a random day in history, everything had changed because of one man's life. Originally living in Mesopotamia, Abraham had made a covenant with the one and only God. This was literally the one and only God, because the Hebrews had a religion of monotheism, or belief in one God. But anyways, in the covenant, God had promised that all descendants of Abraham would make up a great nation located in the Holy Land. Abraham would be named the father of the chosen people, who were the Jews, if he followed through with God's master plan. Abraham believed in the importance of God. When tested his faith, he always obeyed God's guidance. For instance, one day, God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son, Isaac, and Abraham acquiesced. Thankfully, at last minute, God saved Isaac and was pleased that Abraham followed his orders. Isaac grew up and had a baby boy named Jacob. Jacob grew up and traveled with his family to Egypt. However, not all stories can end like the Disney movies, and the Egyptians found Jacob and his family to be lesser individuals and enslaved them.
The enslaved people were called the Israelites. The Pharaoh ordered all Israelite boys to be killed. Nevertheless, one Israelite boy was saved and later found by the Pharaoh's daughter, who named him Moses. After a long time, Moses came to save the enslaved Israelites. He demanded that the Pharaoh let his people go. Of course, the Pharaoh refuses, and God shows his power through the 10 plagues. The Pharaoh ultimately lets the Israelites go, with the help of Moses, but changes his mind and sends an army after them. Eventually, the Israelites and Egyptians crossed paths. The almighty Moses, with a little help from God, parted the Red Sea, allowing the Israelites to pass through, but left the Egyptians to drown. From there on, the Jewish people were given the 10 Commandments by God to live by. Finally, the Jewish people returned to Canaan, the Promised Land. They resided in the kingdom of Israel, and under God's guidance, the Jewish people became quite the powerful group under King David. David led the city of Jerusalem to become the capital of Israel. His son, Solomon, becomes the new king and builds the first temple for God. However, he didn't have his plan of a gold temple thought out very well and ended up taxing the people greatly. Their nation is then split into the kingdom of Israel and kingdom of Judah, that both result in being captured by foreign powers. Solomon's death in 930 BC eventually weakened the kingdom. In time, the Persians conquered the Fertile Crescent in 500 BC, which caused the Hebrews to return to Israel. Even after the Persians, the Greeks gained control. Sadly, because the Jewish people revolted against the Roman rule, they were thrown out. This led to the Big Diaspora, or otherwise known as This led to the Big Diaspora, or otherwise known as scattering of Jewish people throughout the world. But to end, like a happy Disney movie, the Jews still kept and preserved their religion and culture that lived on for hundreds and hundreds of years, even longer than the dinosaurs.